You know, you might think the order of the letters in the LGBTQ plus acronym is just kind of random, but it's not. Not at all. It actually tells this incredibly powerful story of solidarity that was born during one of the community's absolute darkest times. And it's a totally logical question, right? Because for a long time, GLBT was the more common version. So what happened? What made it switch? Well, that's the story we're going to get into right now. To really understand the shift, we have to kind of hop in a time machine and go back, way back, to the early days of the modern LGBTQ rights movement and the acronym they were using, them. So, back in the day, the most common way to say it was GLBT, and often the word gay was just used as a catch-all for pretty much the whole community. But as the movement started to grow, a really important question started to come up. Did it really represent everyone's contributions? This change, going from GLBT to what we know today, LGBTQ+, it wasn't an accident. It wasn't a typo. No, it was a deliberate, really meaningful change born out of a moment of just profound crisis and incredible compassion. The thing that sparked this change, the catalyst, was a devastating public health crisis that would shake the community to its absolute core, the AIDS epidemic of the 1980s. The AIDS crisis hit the gay and bisexual male community with just unimaginable force. And on top of the devastating illness itself, they were hit with this wall of fear, of stigma, and of discrimination from society at large. The reality of that time was just brutal. People were literally being abandoned by their own families, turned away from hospitals, and just left with almost no support system while they were facing a terminal illness. It was a time of intense isolation and fear. But, and this is the incredible part of the story, right in the middle of all that darkness, a story of unbelievable solidarity and compassion began to unfold. When so many people turned their backs, one part of the community stepped forward in a massive way. This was the turning point. As gay and bi men were being just devastated by the crisis, lesbian activists mobilized. They saw their brothers in the community suffering, and they absolutely refused to stand by and do nothing. And their actions were so direct and so impactful. They were volunteering in hospital wards when other people were too afraid to even go in. They organized fundraisers for medical care, they lobbied for research, and maybe most importantly, they provided hands-on care for the sick and dying. They became the family that so many had lost. And this incredible display of solidarity, it did not go unnoticed. The community knew it had to be honored, and that honor was cemented in the very language they used to describe themselves. See, this wasn't just some random evolution. Community leaders and organizations made a conscious, deliberate decision. They started putting the L first, as a direct tribute to the lesbian activists who had been on the front lines. The connection here is just crystal clear. You have the intense activism during the 1980s crisis, and that directly led to the change in the acronym that followed. It was a straight line, a direct cause and effect. And the symbolism was just so powerful. It was way more than just letters. It was a public thank you. It was a statement of gratitude for their solidarity. And it served as this permanent reminder that the community's progress has always been built by different groups standing together. So this isn't just a history lesson, This story is embedded in the DNA of the community today, and understanding it really helps us appreciate the deep roots of that solidarity. So every time you see or say LGBTQ+, remember this. That order of letters isn't just an acronym. It's a whole narrative. It's a story about showing up for one another in the face of just unimaginable hardship. Ultimately, the L is first as a lasting tribute. It honors the women who led the charge with compassion and courage, making sure no one was left to face the crisis all alone. It's a beautiful, powerful piece of history, hidden in plain sight. It really makes you think, doesn't it? Our language is full of these hidden histories, and this story is such a powerful reminder to stay curious, to ask why things are the way they are. You just never know what stories of courage you might uncover.